My name is Walter A. Frey Jr. I'm from Lorain, Ohio. I'm a funeral director and an organist. I followed in my father's footsteps. As a boy, he always dreamed about owning his own funeral home and also being a funeral director. Well, in fact, when my dad was a boy, he used to play with his toy cars and he would make funeral processions. Years later, when my sister and I were growing up, well, we would play with our toys and we would do pretend funerals. Vacuuming just happens to be one of my passions. I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's relaxing. Maybe it's the sound of the vacuum cleaner that I really enjoy, the noise that it makes. I would consider vacuuming more of a Zen activity because I don't really necessarily think of anything in particular. I use a Hyla vacuum cleaner which processes the dirt through water, and it also emits a fresh deodorized scent into the air. Well, I've always been a collector of ties. I have probably over 1,000 ties. Well, there were ties for my father. I saved all of his ties. I also have ties that some of my friends have given me. Well, when I was a little boy, we used to go to the lake, and there was a man who sold balloons, a balloon man. He had absolutely incredible ties. A lot of his ties were really bright, and many of them were all hand-painted. When he died, his family knew how much I liked his ties, so they gave me his whole collection. It's one of my treasures. I think when people look at a funeral director, they assume that he's going to be well-dressed and he's going to be put together in a way that looks professional. Because if I can't be well-groomed myself, people will look at me and say, well, how do you expect our loved ones to be well-groomed? I always do the hairdressing and cosmetics for the funerals. Because of the fact that I do it on the deceased, none of my relatives or friends will ever let me do any of their haircuts or any of their hairstyles. We do know that my hairstyles last forever. One of the things I've always prided myself on is that I do eternal hairdos. I think each culture has its own taboos, and I think that actually death probably is a taboo and people feel nervous about it. It's the fear of the unknown. It'll probably be a big roller coaster ride for me when my time comes. It'll be a celestial roller coaster ride. How do I see my funeral? I would see myself in an absolutely beautiful, shiny, mahogany, marquetry veneer casket with the inlay of at least 6 different kinds of mahogany, all artistically put together. I see myself perfectly positioned, well-groomed, a perfect memory for those people who would attend my funeral. I certainly wouldn't want my wife to bear the burden of grieving for me. So as a result of this, I would want to have 8 absolutely gorgeous, stunning, Brazilian, well-endowed women with very low-cut black dresses to just wail and wail and wail at my funeral.